Okay, my name is Sarah Smith and I'm University Secretary and I'm a Vice Principal at the University of Edinburgh. So I think it's really important in the leadership of change to be aware about what sustains and what depletes our own emotional energy and then how we affect others. And some of the things that can boost our energy or really drain our energy can be whether we feel we're living up to our own high expectations of ourselves. If we don't meet them, we can often be our own harshest critic. One of the main things that can deplete our own emotional energy can be when there's a mismatch of expectations. So what we expect from ourselves in our role, what others expect from us. And if those two things don't connect or don't overlap enough, sometimes this is called emotional labor. And it's like the kind of face you have to put on when you're at work to do your job. And if there's too much of a mismatch between that face you've got to put on and who you genuinely are or want to be, that can really grind away in terms of seeping your emotional energy. So if we can increase our awareness about that, our awareness of what boosts or depletes our energy, what else can we do about it? We can be aware about how it affects us. There was a senior leader I talked to quite a few years ago who said she used to look at her calendar and instead of looking at it to think, am I spending the right amount of my time in the office, externally engaging, etc., she thought, how much of my time is with people who are going to suck energy from me and how much of my time is going to be with people who are going to boost my energy? And she tried to make sure there was a reasonable balance, and I've never forgotten that. And we can also be aware of how our own state of emotional energy might be affecting others. Because this thing called emotional contagion, if I'm feeling happy and positive and engaged, the people around me are more likely to feel happy and positive, engaged, and vice versa. So if we're thinking about how much of our time are we spending trying to build a sense of deserved pride in those around us, how much of our time are we spending fostering a realistic hope and optimism? Amy Edmondson, she writes about psychological safety. How much of our time are we spending providing that environment to those around us, whether we're leading or they're our colleagues, as a feeling of psychological safety where people can talk about how they're feeling and can share anxieties and can be seen. So if I want my teams or people around me to be feeling positive, productive, able to contribute, open to new ideas, flexible, then it's really important for me as a leader, but also as a team member, to be playing my part in creating a feeling of psychological safety. When we're thinking about all that and we're thinking about how we impact on the emotions of others, it's always good to remember that 3 versus 1 rule, that people will need to be told a positive thing 3 times for every 1 negative thing. And if many of us will have done, had experience of either having an annual appraisal or giving an annual appraisal, I find it very, very natural to look through all the positive words and try to find the one thing that might say this is an area for development or this is something you could have done better. So if we think about that, think about the balance of when we're saying positive things and more challenging things to people, always trying to be sure that we're really playing to strengths and really talking about the positives, as well as picking out the areas where we all know we need to improve. I think emotions can be tremendously powerful in the leadership of change. I think knowing what impacts on our own emotions is important, not just for ourselves, but also because of the impact it has on those around us, to help them make the best possible contribution and for it to be the best possible place for them to work in. And if you'd like to hear more about this, please do join me and lots of other people at the AUA annual conference in Manchester, which is on the 7th and 8th of July this year.